Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the Bears Den. How is everyone doing today, guys? It is Talk Show Tuesday time. It is the time we all have as far as learning about what's going on in the video game industry. Joy! If you guys haven't checked it out already, I kind of highly recommend you go check out a just really a retrospective kind of look back on Elden Ring that Alex, Paul, myself, along with two others, AR Jake, and I unfortunately can't remember the fifth guy's name off the top of my head, but we did a retrospective of it on this past Saturday. If you got the time, it's 5 hours long, so maybe break it up into like smaller chunks, but if you got the time, definitely go back and take a look at it. We basically do a walkthrough of the whole game, and mainly voice our opinions. But let's dive on in.
Fun watching you two go.
Pantomime, yeah. Yeah.
It's always fun.
I was having a whole conversation about whatever is in this. But like, okay, what would you assume the flavor profile would be if the flavor was named Sun Crush?
Cherry citrus.
Okay.
Some sort of like tropical-ish fruit.
Yeah, I said star fruit, but I think that was also because there's already somebody in the stream, and I was kind of like panicking, and I couldn't think of like any fruit that was like tropical, and I didn't want to be an idiot. Like passion fruit, like it was just like the first thing I was like star fruit. Let's see if we're right. Let's find out what this is. Oh, getting this all over my mouse.
Although I'm kind of feeling it's going to be like orange.
That's from Blue.
I was going to say, why am I not surprised that came from Blue?
Yeah, it's a good guess, Blue. Hold on.
Let me know what you think it is, and I'll tell you what it actually is.
It kind of tastes like Mountain Dew, which again isn't really helpful because I don't know. Turquoise, is that a flavor?
So it is. Do you have another guess?
Passion fruit, something?
I'm gonna guess tequila and orange.
Ooh, this is tequila. Ooh,
I was right about the orange part.
Yep. You were.
It's just orange.
Tequila and orange. Ooh, all right, that's a little dangerous. I'll try to drink that slow, gentlemen, but zero
no
promises. Yeah,
it's pretty close to like a tequila sunrise. Like
yeah, it is.
Call it that. Yeah.
100%. Okay. Yep. And I do like those. Yeah, those are good. And I also like the sunsets, which is when you put the lace on top as opposed to the bottom. Grenadine goes on top. I went to bartending school. I'm full of worthless fucking knowledge.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Yes, that's why we do the show, frankly.
And sadly, unfortunately, I have no beer, so I'm just subbing in soda. Well, actually, no. I have one beer. It's that Sam Adams pumpkin ale, where they basically took a pumpkin and somehow forced it into a beer bottle.
Just
no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I don't fuck around with pumpkin anything because of that. Like there is a very little percentage of those things that has like a light pumpkin flavor because people go like absolute bad shit for it. So usually it's like they like wring it out like a towel over each individual one. I'm just like, well, too much.
No, yeah.
Like Pumpkinhead, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Pumpkinhead's kind of like it's subtle. It's more subtle than every other version of it that's come out since, because maybe it was the first real big popular one. I don't know, but
I'd rather have that fucking like the Sam Adams Autumn. Like it's still kind of got like a herbiness to it, you know, like and it still reminds me of autumn, but it doesn't have a disgusting pumpkin flavor, so I call it a win.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
What'd you say?
Who wants to go first?
Well, if Paul isn't, I will. If Paul doesn't want to.
I was looking through. Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
Pumpkinhead is a light beer, the light alcohol. Yes, agreed.
Okay. So we're gonna start off with some interesting stuff that I found actually today. Dark Souls, specifically the Prepare to Die edition.
Okay.
FromSoft has announced that the online features of the Prepare to Die edition are unfortunately they're getting turned
we
off.
talked about that months ago. We talked about months
ago because of the I forget the exact terminology for it, but the remote execution exploit. So all the PC versions for Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, those were all taken offline temporarily.
Yep.
This is we are permanently shutting down online features for Prepare to Die, not remaster. Well, yeah.
I don't want to be tinfoil hat guy, but that does feel a little bit like, oh, but coincidentally, the remaster, which you could buy again.
True. Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy, but that does.
But you're still being that guy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. On the upside, though, see, this is like a mix topic here. Yeah, because there's a little down, but there's also a little up. Dark Souls 2 Scholars of the First Sin, the online features are coming back online. So hopefully FromSoft has finally gotten all the issues of that remote execution exploit out of the system, and hopefully we won't be seeing that at all.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I have to assume at this point it wasn't worth the work or the effort. Like, there were probably so few people playing that version of the game at this point, especially with remaster out there, that they were just like, all right, like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like, we can fix the other ones that people are still actively playing. Let's, and a little bit of what you said is probably, well, now we can we can convince these people to migrate to remaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by
and legitimately, like, what, for them, like, that those games came out years and years and years ago.
Oh yeah.
How long? And this was like
was for this version.
Almost
11 years old now.
And by the way, I had this because this is one of my ones too. That was January that those got deactivated.
Yep.
It's almost November.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure that they hired somebody to be fucking with those for a while, and then they were just like, you know what? Fuck this, Ted. Go back to a fucking. Who cares? Like, sorry. Like,
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. There was no word as far as the Dark Souls 2, just Dark Souls 2 edition. They did say the Dark Souls 2 Scholars of the First Sin, which is basically, it has the DLCs in it. Yeah, gold edition. The PC online features are coming back online. Granted, the exploit that took all the PC offline was only affecting PC. So consoles, yes, they still had all their online capabilities untouched.
Right.
So a little bit of good, a little bit of bad there.
For all those people still playing the base Dark Souls all this time later.
Yeah.
I feel like I can hear Will.
I know he's probably at my door right now, like, whoa. Seriously, bullshit.
Well, the one thing I will say, and granted, this doesn't even affect the online features at all, is there's a hell of a lot more mods for Prepare to Die versus Remaster.
Sure.
So
it's just because Remaster's newer.
True. And realistically speaking, I think the possibly the only mod that I can think of right off the top of my head is where the mod creator basically brought in Halo Combat Evolved, the weapons from Halo into Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wait, what? I can just use a sniper rifle and off the Taurus demon?
Yeah.
Yeah. There apparently is a little bit of online capability in that, but you have to do something to some certain files, so you're not connecting to FromSoft servers is the thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's very much
sounds like a single player mod.
There is some online capability to it though.
Yeah.
That redoes like Hang 'em High. So
Sure, I'm just saying I don't think that if you connected to FromSoft servers,
no,
that
they would
none
instantly
too
be like,
keen you did
ban.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul. After you.
Okay, let's see. Let me. I actually had that one too. Just
God damn it, we have freeway overlap.
I'm sure we have more than that. We usually do. I get enough that to account for that usually.
I do too.
Here's a quickie that's a pretty funny, I think.
I can't stand it.
So I guess let me see who this was today.
Yes, Blue, we had a three-way.
Yeah.
And a
so
quickie.
the lead designer for Diablo 3 at a gaming expo this past week revealed the reason why it took so long for them to remove the auction house from Diablo 3, which I'm sure you all pleasantly remember with great memory. Fun,
Oh yeah.
Oh my.
fantastic memories.
Oh yeah, good
but
stuff.
Oh yeah.
apparently, the reason it took them 2 years is because the box art for the game in store advertised the in-game auction house.
Yeah.
And so, for legal reasons, they had to basically spend 2 years trying to figure out how to legally navigate that so that they didn't get essentially sued for selling a game advertising something that was no longer a feature in the game. 2 whole years. Blizzard, 2 whole years
Yeah.
to figure that out.
Yeah.
There's also a... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
There's also a really funny quote from this guy. Let me find his name. Jay Wilson, where he says, quote, "If it made more than 10 or 15 million dollars, I'd be surprised. It sounds like a lot of money, but WoW probably made that every 10 seconds. It was not very popular."
Diablo 3? Is that what he's trying to say?
He's talking about the auction house specifically.
Oh.
Yes.
How would
That's
you...
probably not true.
Yeah, and honestly, how would you even guess that number?
Yeah. As
Like-
the lead designer of the game, I feel like that's something he should know or would know. I could be wrong. Obviously, companies don't always tell everybody the same thing, even on the same team. But that seems... And again, like saying it wasn't popular doesn't mean that it wasn't successful. A lot of very unpopular things are very successful, technically speaking. Like,
Yeah. I just can't imagine that, like, because how are they making money off of it? Because 3 wasn't even monetized in that way.
it
did have a real world auction house for a while.
Yeah, the auction house was real money.
And in-game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was real money exchanging hands in the auction
So I
house.
guess they
You
were
probably
taking a
got
cut
Yep.
Yeah.
of it,
Oh yeah.
I guess.
I would assume so.
Yep.
Huh. Yeah, that's weird.
How much that is, I don't know. I assume it was probably somewhere near kind of the industry standard of 30%.
Yeah.
Probably even back then.
Actually,
yeah,
knowing...
box art kept that really terrible feature in that game for a really long time.
And you'd think, like, if they were gonna fucking do that, like they would have cut it, because box art is like one of the like last things really that gets done, because that's like during publication. That's like the last like 2 months, really. Like when you start printing the discs and getting the cases and all that shit. You'd think that like well before then they'd be like, yeah, this thing is fucking fucked. Like, let's just cut it and maybe say we'll add it later. But the weird thing is Diablo 3 came in that like weird transitional period before everything did start microtransacting, and like, yeah, that's really bizarre.
Yeah, that was 2012 was like the era of like online passes.
Right.
Like where EA was trying to make that a thing, where it's like, if you want to play our game online, you better buy it new.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Also, that's fascinating that he put a $10 to $15 million price tag on what they made.
Yeah.
I feel like they probably made way more than that.
Or he, I mean, it's either he's lowballing it or he's highballing it.
Yeah,
Both have a very different reason why you would PR it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, If he's lowballing it, I don't know, but if he's highballing it, that means like it didn't make even nearly that much, and so he was just trying to prop it up. Like, oh, if it comes up in Diablo 4, know that that's because like I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Well, he also seems to kind of imply that because he said that essentially they hit a point where they were like, all right, screw it. We're going to deal with the legal ramifications of this finally.
Sure.
That makes me think that it was doing okay for a while and it
Sure.
wasn't worth the trouble. But again, I'm inferring a lot myself. So
Sure.
I could be wrong, who knows. But yeah, it was a very interesting reasoning and a very interesting number to be given.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I'd be surprised. No, I mean that title was huge, but like at the
Yeah.
time, and that's also the lifetime. Okay, I'm not gonna harp on it.
It did take a while to get big though, because it did have really bad DRM at the beginning. It
Mhm.
didn't work for a good while at launch, and then they,
I
years later with
agree.
all the patches and revamps and the introduction of seasons and all that, now the game is like, beloved.
Yeah, I agree, but like I mean, even at the time when it launched, if you had a PC, you probably bought Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Like even thinking of every one of my friends who was into PC gaming at that time, they all bought it.
Yeah, I
Like,
bought it.
Yep.
yeah,
Even I bought it on
Yep.
PC. I
right,
had a gaming laptop at the time, and I don't PC game at all back then. And I
right.
was still like, I want to play Diablo 3.
Yep.
And then it didn't work.
And then I bought it on fucking Xbox too. The
Yeah.
Xbox as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Okay, you want to just have a quick one? Here, here's a quick one. So Sunday, Steam reached a new milestone. Concurrent numbers on Sunday, concurrent was 30 million people. And I know that that's crazy, right? Like 30 million people on the planet Earth were all concurrently on Steam. But this is where it started like losing me, where it's kind of where I wanted to at least have a little conversation about it. Out of that 30 plus million people using on Sunday, 8.5 million were in game.
Then what do we
There we
care
go.
about the other 22 million?
Right.
That's
And like, what does that mean? They like what had Steam open? It's not like you
Yeah.
were like, I know you can rent movies and shit. Like, who the fuck would do that? But you can.
Mhm.
So what? Everyone else is like just in the browser.
You can also get like actual software though through Steam
Yeah.
now, apparently.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I mean, they may have differentiated it by like, okay, you had 8.5 million in games. Did they
Mhm.
mention at all how many were actually using just software?
Just
Okay.
said the other 8.5 million concurrent people were playing, but that's where I was kind of like, wait, the way bigger number here, we're not in game. So what? Steam was just open. So what? My Steam's almost always open.
Yeah, same here.
Like, like that doesn't mean I'm doing anything in it. It's just sitting at the bottom of my fucking toolbar.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I
okay.
wouldn't even tout that number because it's just people not doing anything with your service. They just have it.
So the interesting thing was it has risen super exponentially. And I think a big part of it that we can point to is COVID, because so many people ended up buying PCs, for work.
Yep.
And then I already have this PC. I might as well get games on it.
Game Deck right now too.
Right. And it has been like I think it was 14 million was their highest in 2016. And then it was like 15 million, like only a year or something later. And it only took like it basically doubled again in like half the amount of time again. So that is an ass ton of people. Like that's a ton of people. But it's like, again, if we don't know, okay, 8.5 million people are gaming. 22 million people is what we're talking about here. This is not a fucking small number.
Oh yeah.
Like, so what the fuck were those 22 million people doing? Were they just sitting there? Were they like going through their wish list? Like, I don't know. Like, it just seems really weird.
Actually, too, part of it might be people who just were on their PCs and have Steam auto open
Right.
and not realize it.
100%.
Like, I assume
Oh, yeah.
there's probably a lot of that.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, it seems weird to be like, yeah, we did it. 30 million people. Yeah, I know. Every time I boot my PC up, if I don't turn it off, it's just on. Like,
Yep.
Yeah. It's like being a store and being like, we had 200 people come into our store today, but 3 people bought something.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
well, cool. Then you're just a
Cool.
public location that people browse at that point. Like,
Right.
Mhm.
And frankly, you are the biggest, like, and it's also a store that's 24 hours that you have to walk through to get to your accounting software, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might not even specifically stop at the store. You're just walking through to get to like your normal PC shit. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was really weird. But hey, cool. I guess Steam's bigger. I don't know why people. I'm not one of these people. Um, I like. I think open market is a good thing, which is going to be funny because I'm going to come around to something later that is going to be like, I'm basically going to say the opposite of that. But um, I don't care. I like Steam and Epic. I don't really care. I don't think Epic is as good as Steam, but I don't give a shit. I don't think of him as Uncle Gabe. You know what I'm saying? Like Valve will never know my name. I'm not evangelical about any global corporation like at all. I don't care how good they are to the users. And my game is on Steam and I still don't care. Like, I'm like, whatever. Like taking 30% of my shit.
I mean,
But
Epic gives me free games all the time.
Epic gives me free games. Exactly.
Yeah.
One that we play like regularly. So,
Epic,
You know.
unfortunately, also doesn't have anything in regards to like discussion of like, oh, how do I do this, or let's rate the game, and so that way
User
other
reviews.
people knows, is this a good game? Is it a trash tier game?
They
Is
just
it even
started-
complete?
Right. Like, and they just got like achievements hooked up like 6 months ago.
And
Like I'm not like clapping because when I hear the words
Yeah.
Epic Store, I feel like the doors should be like 20 feet tall, and I don't know. Whenever I give you my credit card information, the lightsaber noid place, like that's
Yeah.
Epic to me. That is just a big gray square. Like, okay, not Epic.
Mhm.
But thanks for the free games. Like, cool.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I just want to talk about that real quick.
Okay.
million.
I'd be curious to know, due to COVID, how much the number of people playing games over the course has also grown with the
On
number
Steam
on Steam.
particular,
Yeah.
So I watched, this was actually like right towards like the tail end of it. The Score Esports did a video on that and they said that it was huge. Mainly due to countries like India who did not have a very big install base for PCs at home. And then due to the fact everyone had to work from home, they had to buy PCs for their home. And again, they have like 13 billion people or something ridiculous. Like they got some fucking astronomical number of people in just India.
Yeah.
And they were saying that like India alone, like just added this stupid number to it. And I guess the Indian government isn't nearly as oppressive about, like, it's not like the Chinese government where they care as much individually. So when people started getting PCs in their home, Steam was the first thing that was just available.
Yeah. Okay.
Download day one, bam, and it can run on
Your
anything.
number was right, by the way, just with a decimal point in the
Off by a factor of 10. Yeah.
So 1.3 billion. But
Well,
yeah,
I was being
yeah.
hyperbolic, but yeah, like
'Cause I was
it's
gonna say
funny that it's funny that I came that close, to be honest with you.
yeah.
Because I was going to say the world's population is like 8 billion.
37? I thought it was 37.
No, it's not 37 billion.
I don't care.
We'd
Like,
be in real shit right now if it was 37 billion.
Yeah,
It's 7.8 as of 2021.
7.8.
Yeah.
Close.
But that's crazy. Yeah, one seventh of the population is in
Right.
Yeah.
1/7 of the entire world's population is in that country. And so since they had to basically adapt or die, like I could see their numbers. Like that's why I was like, oh yeah, no, that all makes sense to me. Like
Steam games are cheap.
yeah, and Steam games are cheap, and
Yep.
a lot of them run on fucking toasters. The Steam store itself runs on a fucking toaster,
Mhm.
like. So yeah, no, I could totally I mean, fucking Valve must have been like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where are you gonna go now, nerds?
Yeah.
Yes, good.
Plus, also considering the simple fact that up until recently, you couldn't buy games not on Epic Game Store.
Right.
Like, you had to go to Epic Game Store to get a game on Epic Game Store. Whereas, like, Steam, throw a rock, you'll hit something, and they'll sell a key to buy a game to get a game on Steam. So
Yeah, I used a third-party website to get Resident Evil 3 for $10. Like,
Right.
yeah, it's
yeah,
willy-nilly. They're everywhere.
yep.
Go for it, Rich.
Alrighty. You know what? Seeing how you brought up Resident Evil, I've actually got 3 things on Resident Evil here. So it's gonna kind of keep going for a little bit. First off, Resident Evil 8. There is a DLC coming. It is going to drop on the 29th, on Saturday. You will play
Village.
Yes, Village. You play as Rose, so that'll be interesting.
Blonde girl.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that they I know that they have to because it's a big DLC coming out, but it's kind of crazy that they're just like outright spoiling their own story with this DLC announcement.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Yep. So you play as Rose, which is Ethan and Mia's daughter. They also added a third-person mode, which apparently you can try in the core game as well, but you can't turn the camera all the way around. It's like locked behind you.
Yep,
so
you can't see Ethan's face.
We still do not know what Ethan's face looks like. Oh fun, oh joy.
I think that's a good thing because he's supposed to be, and that's why one of the reasons that Village kind of annoys me because like the first one he was like an everyman, and now all of a sudden he's embroiled in this fucking umbrella shit, and I'm like, come on, man! Like that was why he was a good protagonist because you can insert the Isaac Clarke from the original fucking the reason that like. We don't have a voice for like the orange savior with a crowbar, like it's easier to place. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even Isaac's getting like fully voiced in the remake though.
I know, and that's why in 2 I was like, come on, man. It's not that it was bad. I thought the guy did a fine job. It's just,
yeah. Apparently, there's also going to be a versus mode that's coming where you can play as various characters, be it
mercenaries.
Mercenaries. Thank you.
Yeah,
which will be in the reverse. So that'll be interesting, depending on how they balanced everything. Which I'm kind of guessing.
Well, it's not versus. It's like co-op. It's just like skill runs kind of things. Like you can even be Lady Damascue.
Yep.
Yeah, there is reverse, which is the competitive, but that was attached to the 3 remake, and that is what just now is available. Because it didn't launch with 3, it was supposed to, and then it got delayed. And then now it's out, and that's the one where you can play as like the hero characters in a versus mode. Whereas Mercenaries is the one that lets you play as the villains.
Right.
And they had to shorten Lady D to make it functional as a gameplay character, apparently.
Yeah.
Shocking there.
And I gotta tell you, the fucking RE team has always been or for their fucking co-op versus stuff. The fucking netcode is garbage. And that's comparatively to a company that their netcode is normally bad. Like, that's almost like they're trying. Like, I'm assuming there's a guy in the server room just like with a crowbar just randomly hitting servers till they suck more. Like, it's unbelievable how bad those, like, what was that last one that was supposed to, like, it came with 3. The one with the one guy was like the mastermind. Jesus Christ, that thing ran
asymmetrical mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, that thing ran like shit on fucking toast. Like, ugh.
But then also now, let's quick jump over to RE4. And this I will fight till my dying breath. There is what they're calling a remake. From everything that I've seen of it, oh yes, remake. Look, it's all HD, and we have a new mechanic of Leon can now crouch. No, that's still a fucking remaster, not a remake.
He can also parry.
Yep, and you can do it. You can do the entire thing in first person.
Okay, so minor additions of mechanics. That does not make a remake. That is still a remaster, in my opinion.
I watched the trailer for that. The producer for the remake of 4 said that they were actually leaning way more into horror. Like, they are specifically trying to make it less
The
actiony and more
yeah,
horror-y.
the paths are all different.
Yeah,
The story is
could be
completely
interesting.
yeah,
Could be
yeah.
interesting. It's one of my favorite REs, so
There's a
I'm
little
kind of giving it.
controversy about there not being the dog that you can rescue anymore too.
Uh,
Although I think that's a bait and switch.
Yeah, but at the moment, for them sitting there saying, yes, there is a remake for RE4, and then literally showing the exact same stuff that was in RE4 original, just HDified, and oh, you can crouch now and parry, it's like, that's a remaster, not a remake. Please learn your terminology. So,
Yeah, I mean it's completely remade from the ground up, so that's where I'm like at. They could end up adhering a little too closely, and that's what I'm kind of worried about too. Is some of the footage looks wildly different, and then some of it
Copy paste.
looks like just they upres the map. Like it's really weird how much some parts of it really do look wildly different and some don't. It's yeah. It's an unnecessary remake. I'll still play it probably because I love Resident Evil.
I love the simple fact that you just said it's an unnecessary remake. Because guess what? I'm not done with RE yet. The head producer that is in charge of the RE4 remake, he said that as of right now, a Code Veronica remake is not on the roadmap, but he's not putting it off the roadmap completely either. So he's leaving the
That's a
door
game that
wide open.
actually that's the one that actually could use a real remake. I love
Yes.
I have a soft spot for Veronica because I had it on Dreamcast, and actually we were talking about this in the car earlier today. The only other survival horror game that I played on the Dreamcast was Blue Stinger. Woof. So like after I played through Blue Stinger and then Veronica came out, I was like, oh God, thank God, back to fucking Resident Evil. Like these tank controls feel refreshing and good. Like I remember seeing a tongue dude jump up one level, and I was like, oh, blowed my mind is blown. But I wouldn't mind that. Like, yeah, not only that, like if you're really like looking timeline wise, like, dude, we're getting to a point where we're like remaking games that are like 4 years old. Shit, the fucking Resident Evil 4 just had a VR edition that came out
Mhm.
last year.
Yep. Oh
Now,
yeah.
this remake is not slated for next year either. It's actually 2024.
Yep.
So that's a
Resident
lot of time, you
Mhm.
know?
Evil 4?
Yeah, the remake.
No, it
It's scheduled
comes out this March.
new. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure they
actually
moved
I
it back.
think it might even be hold on. Let me
'Cause I'm
double
pretty
check.
sure they moved it back.
March 24th, 2023.
Mm, okay, well,
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
very close. It's very
Ooh,
close.
yeah.
yeah. Then there's gonna be more capping.
Capcom is one of those companies that's actually like pretty good about when they announce something and start showing it off, it's coming out pretty soon.
That's fair, but like I would rather you give me a year and say when you're gonna remake, because when you say that it's only gonna take 8 months to remake it, unless you've been working on it for 2 years in the background, that makes me think more on Rich's side where it's gonna be an HD-ification, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, well, because that's what happened with the Resident Evil 2 remake. It had been
in the background.
secretly in development for a couple years, and then they showed it at E3, and then it came out the next like January.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm just wondering at this point, um, should we also be expecting a remake for 5 and 6 as well?
Probably.
Because I
Yeah.
mean, at this point, if they do remake Code Veronica, the only ones that they haven't remade are 5 and 6. 7 and 8 are, I would say, way the fuck too new to warrant a remake.
Well, I've been saying this for a while, ever since 7 came out and then they announced the 2 remake. I'm pretty sure this whole thing is to align those games closer to 7 and 8. Story-wise, like elaborating on the story, I like would not be surprised if there were more direct connections in the 4 remake to 7 and 8's lore. Like little hints, because I'm pretty sure there were some like really small nods in the 2 remake to events of 7, or like some sort of like lead up to it. I could be completely wrong about that, but it does really feel like they're trying to lean into that realistic horror aspect that 7 and 8 kind of, not that they actually nail that, but that's what they try to aim for At least 7 does try to aim for a little more realism. 8 throws a lot of that out the window.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's felt like a while that they're trying to bridge the gap in the stories a little closer.
I just don't think they're gonna do shit with 6, and probably not even 5, only for 2 reasons. Seriously, you can't not have Chris punch a boulder. Like 5 wouldn't be the same. Like RE5 would not be the same if Chris Redfield could not punch a boulder that is like 3 meters wide, and 6 is just an exemplar of garbage from this series. That is bad top to bottom. The story about it was bad. The fucking combat was bad. 6 is a pile of feces with a little tiny dog hat that is like also made of poop. It is so bad. Like I just 6 is unbelievably terrible.
Also some
Plus the
like subtle racism in 5 that really wouldn't.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
They said it was.
They would have to
then-
change a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. They were like,
Agreed.
you know, at first it was like fine, and then all of a sudden you get to an area where there's dudes chucking spears. Like it was like,
Yeah.
okay, well you missed the mark there. Like you were so close, Capcom.
Yeah.
Japan, not really great representations.
Yeah.
Um,
What I will say though is, if they do go as far as remaking 5 and 6 as well, please, for the love of God, just change the cover art for RE6. I don't want to see someone giving it a giraffe a blowjob.
The draft blowjob.
I mean, seriously, is it that hard?
No. Code Veronica and 0 really need remakes.
yeah, 0
If
Zero,
you're gonna
yeah.
remake any of them, like both of those should have been in line before 4.
Agreed. Okay, Paul, it's you, buddy boy.
Okay, cool. So actually, on while we're talking about Capcom,
Okay.
let me open this.
Gotta love these segues.
The Street Fighter 6 beta mysteriously started working again today.
What?
Just
Did you check?
I haven't checked my version of it yet because I
Oh,
deleted it. So I just have to reinstall it. So I'll check it after stream. But yeah, on PS5 specifically, all of a sudden it started working as of 9:30 Pacific today. As of this podcast, it is still active. There are issues. It will error out a lot when you try to access a match. It also, there's significantly more loading times. And it does seem to be running kind of weird, but people are reporting they're in lobbies, they're in matches, netcode is fine. Yeah, it's just you'll have issues trying to access it, but it will work. It's also working now. They've reported that some people have managed to get it to work on Steam as well. No Xbox confirmation yet, though. Don't know if that means anything in particular. But this is also right on the tail of the PC beta getting broken recently, and people actually being able to access it freely and just play on their own terms without servers.
Interesting.
So,
but with no online capability.
yeah, people basically broke into it and were able to play training and do all that kind of stuff. So there seems to be some, conspiracy theory going around that this might just be Capcom addressing the fact that people have broken it and knowing that it's only a matter of time until someone does figure out how to make it work online. But yeah, so who knows? But yeah, as of this morning, the beta is functioning and online again on PC and PS5, which is weird. Don't know. Maybe it could mean that we're getting a new beta soon. Who knows? Who knows what the reason is? But somebody had to turn it on.
Right. That's my assumption is that or something got like a build got pushed to live that shouldn't have. Like those are the only really the two options. Because servers never like just because a game's not online doesn't mean they go in and they turn servers off. It's just not how it works.
Yeah.
So either something got pushed incorrectly or they are gearing up for, okay, hey, let's go do another round of this. Like, see, that's cool. Huh, I'll be damned.
The one thing I will probably I will offer up as a hypothesis as to why no reports of it being functional on Xbox. Typically, when you do a fighting game, if you're using a controller and not a fight stick, would you rather have an analog stick or a D-pad?
D-pad.
Oh yeah, D-pad all the way.
Which console has always had superior D-pads? The Xbox or the PlayStation?
Yeah, but I don't think that came into this. This is clearly. I
True.
mean, you've worked in the industry long enough. This is clearly some fuck up in
Right.
whatever side it falls on. This is clearly a fuck up on somebody's part.
Right.
I just hope nobody loses their job.
But my logic behind this, though, is if you're going to get a fighting game, you're not going to get it on a console that the D-pad is notoriously bad. You would rather get it on a console where you can just, out of the box, have a D-pad that you can rely on, as opposed to always going out and getting a fight stick.
I will actually be the weird one here, though, and say that I do think the Series X controller, at least, that D-pad is better than the PS5 DualSense D-pad.
I haven't used the PS5 enough.
The circle-y, the like full circle, really clicky one that's on the Series X controllers, I think that's actually a much better D-pad. Sony still has the sort of, yeah, exactly. That's a better D-pad, I think, than the PS5. The PS5 still has the little 4 directional individual buttons kind of set up. It's not bad. It's not bad, but I've definitely had more success on the Xbox, especially with because I play a lot of like 2D sort of stuff still that works better with the D-pad. I prefer playing on that, but I could also be the weird one in this case because typically you're right. The Sony controllers do have better D-pads historically than
I just use a fight stick, so
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I am a normal fighting game guy.
Yeah,
I got a pile of them over there.
I'm not big enough into fighting games to like warrant going to get a fight stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Okay. So. All right. Let's talk about something that's a little more boring but a little more interesting. So as we know, and we've talked about a bunch of times here, Microsoft is trying to buy Activision Blizzard, and currently they're in a big kind of stopper has been England or Britain, however you'd like to prefer it, and they are in talks
UK.
at the UK. The CMA, which is the Competition and Markets Authority, is the people, the governing body that they're talking to, and that's the one that Sony flew out from Japan just to fucking try to whittle all over this. So this has kind of got like two little parts. One, this last week the CMA let out an email like to the public saying, if you have an opinion to random people, you can now email us at this email address and voice your concerns one way or the other. So just to see, I went and I did it. I went and I voted, and I was like, I didn't vote. I just literally went in and I was like, Microsoft acquisitions as the subject. And I was like, I mean, it doesn't fucking matter. Like one title, 10 titles. It doesn't matter. Most people are kind of, sold on whatever they want to play. They don't give a shit. And really, at the end of the day, it's really just the controller. Weirdos are the ones who are like, oh, I love Sony. It's like, dude, it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Loyalty is fucking weird.
Really weird. So I thought that was funny. So I went and I did it. I was like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like I literally, it doesn't fucking matter. Send. Whatever, because it doesn't fucking matter. And probably at the end of the day, because they also said like most people won't get a response back. Yeah, no shit. You just fucking opened up the entire
get a response.
Right, like you literally said the entire world, a bunch of fucking jobbers can just fucking like talk to the government directly. That's probably not a good idea. Anyways.
Okay, so
Microsoft stole my soul. Don't allow this acquisition to go through.
Okay, so I was seeing people on Twitter like posting their like really passionate letters that they wrote to this thing, and I was like, I didn't realize that this is what it was. I thought it was just people being really like bizarrely loyal, and I realized that yes, they are still that, but they were asked to do it, which is just like even more crazy. But the fact that I've seen some people like really patting themselves on the back for thinking they're like making a difference in this situation is insane.
Like I love the idea that like somebody in the CMA is like reading this, and it's like that part. Did you guys ever see Christmas Story?
Yeah.
Okay, you know that part when Ralphie's imagining when he gives in his paper to the teacher that she's like, with a red rocket rider BB gun with a thing in the stock which tells time. A plus, 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 and then she's going all around the chalkboard writing pluses. Like somebody really wrote
They all put it on
that,
their shoulders. Yeah.
right? And they're like, "Yes, you've done it!" Like it's
Ralphie.
Ralphie. Like, and this is some fucking nerd who thinks like this is gonna happen to them. Like, oh god, I literally was a one sentence. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, click. Like, I should have put that on fucking. I'll find it and say, I'll put that on Twitter.
You should have screen capped it and made that your like Facebook banner or something.
It doesn't fucking matter.
What Blue just put is quote, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid," and it's
Right.
like, you know, to the people that are posting their what they sent to the email, you should just put in that "you'll shoot your eye out" and see how many people actually get the like connect the references
Like,
there.
No, you know what I want to do is get the gif of her going, "Hey, bless, bless, a bless, a bless," like just on a loop. Like, fuck you, dude. Like, anybody gives a shit about your fucking opinion? No, nobody cares about your opinion about this or anything else. The fact that I even opened this up was like absurd to me, but I thought that was funny. But we also know that Microsoft has been downplaying this whole fucking acquisition, right? Like the whole time they've been like, I mean, we suck, and these games are
Cares
bad.
about Call of Duty.
Nobody gives a shit. Like they're really downplaying it, and the fact that it won't unify all these things. This was the part that made me laugh. So today, they came out with the documentation from when Microsoft was actually in the CMA, like in the actual event. And in the documentation, the firm describes plans for, they're talking about Microsoft here, in quotations, next generation game store, which operates across a range of devices, including mobile, driven by the addition of Activision Blizzard's content, should help the deal go through. So they're like downplaying the fact that they're not a monopoly, but then they're saying that literally we're trying to open up our own Google Play, like because they have this new initiative that they're going to make a better Microsoft digital store, and that they're going to put it on every. I was like, hey, maybe you want to wait a week or two before you like say that shit out loud. Like what the hell? Like, no, we're not trying to monopolize things. By the way, we're making a whole new thing. It goes on any system. You can play it on a toaster. You can play it on your fucking mouse. It doesn't matter. It's gonna be great. You can buy Microsoft games from anywhere. Space, yeah, we got you. Like it just feels so like weirdly offhanded. You know what I'm saying? Like, but this is what the actual direct quote was. Shifting consumers away from the Google Play Store and App Store on mobile devices will, however, require a major shift in consumer behaviors, the filing reads. Microsoft hopes that by offering well known and popular content, gamers will be more inclined to try something new. So, again, you're like downplaying. Just let us buy that. It's fine. And then, literally 2 sentences later, going, I mean, by offering well-known and popular content, gamers will be inclined to try something new. Like, what?
It's a key element to their future business plan to literally reinvent the industry. And then they're
Right.
trying to say that, oh, no one
doesn't
cares
matter.
about Call of Duty.
Yeah, doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a big key to our. It's a what do they call that in a building? Like a keystone.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like a
Cornerstone,
keystone
yeah.
placement. Cornerstone. Yeah. Like yeah. Oh no, Keystone's the one that has the markings on it. That's right.
Keystone's for an archway.
Oh right. That's the one that holds the whole thing together. Well, okay, then it is a keystone, frankly.
Yeah, they still
But,
work. The
like
metaphor's
that's just fucking stupid. Like that is unbelievably stupid. That like in one hand you're trying to downplay things and say that you're not a monopoly, and then literally 2 sentences later being like, "But we're trying to start a monopoly, so can we just get this through so we can get this monopoly going?"
they're trying to phrase it as though this monopoly will actually break this other existing monopoly over here. That's
Right.
what they're trying to. That's how they're
Right.
trying to frame it, and it's like,
Right.
that's not how that works.
Mm-mm.
And then you have Sony, who's trying to like basically say it's like the end of times if this happens, which is
Also,
I don't
Yeah.
think it's great, but I don't think it's gonna really like be that much of a blow at the end of the day.
I don't think
I don't even play Activision Blizzard games, so I really,
Yeah.
I certainly don't right now.
Oh god,
Yeah,
yeah.
nothing's really gonna change for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Rich, go for it.
Alrighty. Apparently there has been a Fallout London mod been in develop. The people creating it are very enthusiastic about it. I mean, hell,
Yeah, I've heard
they're
about it.
yeah. I mean, they're,
crazy.
they're making Fallout in London.
Which one? Fallout 3, 4?
I think it.
London.
No, which engine?
Oh,
Fallout 3 or
that I
Fallout
don't know.
4?
That I don't know.
It's actually New Vegas's engine, but I could be wrong about
Yeah, I don't remember. Um, but the thing here is, due to recent events, aka the Queen's passing,
Mm.
they are pulling all the models for the Queen, for corgis, and Charles. They're
Why would they
pulling
even
them.
in it?
And they've even gone forward and said, it doesn't matter how much you bitch, complain, comment, love us, whatever, we're not putting them back in. So suck it. We're replacing them with something. And intentionally not telling anybody what they're replacing it with, just to keep everyone hanging.
Oh, I
my
wish more
God.
people would do that.
So
I wish more people would
it's
do that.
it's interesting.
I would want the Mecha Queen. Like, just put her head on top, and she shoots corgis out of miniguns. Like,
No, you give
dude,
her
come on,
the
it's the Queen of England. Like, come on, she's a
you give
figurehead.
her
for
give her the
fuck's sake.
junk launcher. and
Yes.
she launches corgis out of that.
Yep.
Yep.
Or she like bites the head off of beef eaters and throws them like grenades or Molotovs. That'd be awesome. Like, I would be like, fuck yes, I have to get this mod. Like,
If they were really ballsy, they would make them all super mutants,
yes, right,
Yeah.
right.
like weird incestual super mutants. Hey,
Oh,
she's
because
married
it's
to her
monarchy.
cousin.
And it's
She's
the
married to her cousin.
it's a monarchy. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely go like the Hitler Wolfenstein route. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I would go with it. Just put her with 2 gigantic chain guns under each arm, just like that'd be amazing.
I want to know why she was even included in the first place. Did they?
She was
somehow
still
survive
alive.
it?
She was still alive
Well, I mean,
though when they
yeah,
were
but-
doing development of it.
No, I know that, but in game, like usually the
giver.
games take place where enough time has passed that the people that were alive when the bombs dropped aren't alive anymore.
Oh yeah, good point.
From the
That's a very good point.
yeah, from the photos that I saw, I have a feeling it's more she's a ghoul or just a straight up zombie, which
They're immortal in that universe.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ooh, or they could do the Futurama thing where she's just a head in a jar.
Yeah. Yeah.
something tells me you might run into some legal issues there. But
No,
yeah,
public figure.
It
Public
didn't
figures
invent
can't.
that.
You cannot. Public figures can do nothing about that because you're in the public zeitgeist. You're there's no
Well-
fighting that kind of shit.
well, I was more referencing the whole like head in a jar thing, Futurama not liking
Oh,
the
yeah,
mod
but-
creators.
I mean, just make the jar a different looking jar.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
matter.
That's
Jar
also
Jason.
not really a Futurama idea.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
they wouldn't create-
Quick Googling Fallout London engine is coming back with Creation Engine.
That's 3. I want to say.
Yeah, I don't remember right off the top of my
I
head.
want to say that's 3.
So,
maybe they just have, like,
Fallout 4, Fallout 76.
Ugh.
It's not listing
for me-
Fallout 3 for
Oh, it's 4.
games released on this engine. So
Okay,
yeah,
so it's
sounds like 4.
Okay.
Yeah, because most of the time they're almost always built on a pre-existing game.
Right.
There was like a big I think I'm thinking of a different mod, but there was a big mod that was basically an attachment to New Vegas that just extended the game, but it was like a whole new quest line and
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, because I crap, I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, I know which one you're talking about because it increased like the level cap up like either 10 levels or just said level cap, forget that. Who needs a level cap? And it's like, dear God. The amount of grind you can complete and the power you can obtain. It's a little disturbing at that point.
Yeah, that's cool though. That like that community for Fallout, especially,
Oh
is
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then now they just put out the first official screenshot from the series that's going to be on Amazon.
Hmm, interesting.
It's the I guess what I assume it's a like back shot of the main characters leaving the vault,
Yeah, makes sense.
but it's like it looks good. It looks like live action what it would look like coming out of one of the Fallout vaults. So
Yeah,
and
which
Walter Goggins is in it, who is awesome.
for
Like it,
a starting point of a brand new series of something like this, showing people leaving the vault would be a perfect place to start, because then you
yeah.
can like get in on the ground floor as far as attachment to characters and such, instead of just being like thrown in the middle of something and be like, who's what's going on.
Yeah, we'll get to that stuff eventually, so I'm glad that they're kind of starting it off on the right foot. I don't
Yeah.
know, everything that's come out about the series so far has looked actually pretty solid. Like they're actually I
Pause
mean,
again.
again, it's Fallout. You'd have to really go out of your way to fuck up a Fallout TV series. So, I don't know if you saw that, Alex, but they put out the first promotional shot from Amazon's Fallout show.
Yeah.
And
Um.
I just have no idea how that's like. I have
yeah,
no expectations, and I have no like. What are you gonna do? There's no real main hero.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
they get to
I don't
tell
know.
their own story, which I think is cool. At
Yeah,
least
sure,
we'll see if
sure.
it actually amounts to anything. But I
Let's
was
see if it's
telling
Wheel of Time or if it's Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Walter Goggins is in it, and he's great. So
Sure.
he's the lead. So it could be cool.
What I will say though, as far as Paul, to counter you have to really fuck up a TV show to just have it tank horribly. Um, I'm gonna cite Fox on launching Firefly, where they showed episode 2 and then episode 1, and episode 1 and 2 are a two-parter, so they flipped the order of them, and people were like, "What the fuck is this?" and turned it off.
Okay, Fox is definitely the exception to that because Fox can fuck up just about anything.
Yes.
They fucked up. I'm not a big Family Guy fan anymore, but they fucked up Family Guy. They screwed over Arrested Development. They screwed over Andy Richter. Like the list is long and vast of
Oh yeah.
things that
Oh
they
yeah.
should have nailed and just didn't give a shit. They
Yep.
almost fucked up Bob's Burgers. Like,
Yep.
yeah,
But
they
yeah,
don't know what to do.
that's
I
it
have an ad
for.
coming up in 7 seconds.
Ah,
Should we kill a minute and 30?
we
I
can, I guess.
Or we could just keep going. Yeah, fuck it. Just keep going. Fuck it.
Okay. All the more reason to
Call
sub.
it too.
Yeah, I have a
Or you
super
can
short
sub, yeah.
one that
Go for it.
isn't
Perfect.
super duper interesting. Let me get this open here so I make sure I get the details correct.
I'm gonna drink
We've
this
talked
tequila.
about this and made some jokes actually about it a couple times on stream. Pilot Wings 64 on the
Hell
Nintendo Switch. Um, it released. I don't remember. It was a couple weeks ago. It released on the Nintendo Switch Online. I think somewhere around the beginning of the month, shortly after their direct. Like a lot of the Switch in 64 games, there are improvements to frame rate just because of they're not just straight up emulating the games. A lot of times they're running different software to make it work. But in
Yeah,
this case,
for better or for worse.
yeah, for
Like,
better or for worse, sometimes they work really well, and then in some cases you have like Ocarina of Time that had really weird like
Mario
filters.
Kart.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
ugh.
So with Pilot Wing 64, apparently this improved frame rate has been a big bonus, with the exception of one part of the game,
Okay.
the Birdman stages, because the frame rate is now 60. You have to mash the A button twice as fast to
Oh
stay
gosh.
afloat.
That makes sense though.
It basically renders the Birdman stages unplayable
Oh,
Right.
God.
But that
unless
that
you have
does
yeah.
that does make sense though. Like
Yeah.
it does make sense because what
Well,
they're basically doing is just double speeding the entirety of the game. They're like
Yeah.
fast forwarding. So that means your inputs need to be fast forwarded too.
Yeah.
And there's no way to fix that because that's core engine shit. Like, wow, crazy.
Yeah.
That's funny.
it actually reminds me. It's very similar to Dark Souls 2 when the Scholar of the when the
And
special edition came out. it had an increased frame rate, but that increased frame rate also made armor and weapon durability decrease twice as fast. And they eventually had to patch it out.
Yeah.
They had to fix the game. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. The game, yeah. So you can play Pilot Wing 64 at 60 frames, which is kind of cool. But which would actually, in theory, you would think, fix a lot of the control issues in the game. And it sounds like it actually does a pretty good job of that across the board, with the exception of this one mashing based mini game. So yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. The tech being a little ahead of a little too good for the thing it's running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that yes, you can just port the game over and make sure it runs, but you still need to do QA.
Yeah.
Yeah, even on a tried and tested game.
Yep.
Something that, is, I mean, God, Pilot Wing 64 is got to be over. It's got to be getting close to 25 years old now.
Easily.
It was a launch title.
Easily,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a launch title for the N64. Also, that's crazy that remember that point in time when a console would release and it had 2 games at launch and that was it?
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo's kind of infamous for that, though, to be fair.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, usually one of those two is a fucking absolute banger.
And the other one,
like, but hard sell.
And usually one of those two is going to be a Mario game.
Right.
So
or Zelda. Yeah. Or Zelda. Also.
Yeah, or Zelda, yeah.
Okay, so let's do my one last bummer drummer. Actually, it's pretty much my one only bummer drummer. And then all the rest of my stuff is funsies. So let's just get this fucking out of the way, because seriously, this just annoys me to no end. All right. So, I don't know if you guys saw that The Sims had a stream the other day.
No.
Okay. So The Sims 4 is now free to play. And they go for it. And because of it, not because of it, but like that was like one of their big announcements. They were like, "Hey, it's free to play now. So like, if you want to play Sims 4, go for it. The all the expansions aren't still, but base game free to play. Cool, good stuff." But they had this big Sims stream, like showing what's coming up next and like the changes to current stuff and yada yada. Good stuff. Well, it should have been, but unfortunately, it's EA. And they're not the smartest bunch.
Nope.
EA has promised to do better after the stream was criticized heavily for its lack of black creators. The entire stream was like an hour and a half long, and there was only one video, and in one segment of not even speaking, it was like a shot of a person who plays The Sims, who is black, who is a content creator for The Sims, and it was like a video montage. In the actual stream themselves, not a single black person at all. Not a good look. Sims, especially because it's the fucking Sims, and dude, this is supposed to be representative of
any reality that you want to live.
Any humanity that you want to represent should be represented, and we've harped on this a couple of times for a couple of different reasons.
Just a few times.
Right. So this prominent streamer, Danielle Ebenex is her handle, Uyaganya, tweeted, "Not a single black simmer in that reel. Literally the entire thing." She was fucking heated, and for good fucking reason. She is also a Sims content creator who is black, and she wanted some fucking representation. So Electronic Arts, being the fucking geniuses they are, released a statement via the official Sims account, which is, okay, at least you're doing it forward facing. That's cool. "Our creator segment during Behind the Sims Summit did not fairly represent our vast community of players. Black Simmers deserve to feel seen in all that we do in The Sims. So we are holding ourselves accountable to this mistake and will do better moving forward." I'm so sick of do better moving forward. Like, it's so...
Because they never do.
Yep.
And it's so generic. Like, in the future, we'll get it. Like, but seriously, It was an entire segment. How did nobody at Maxis or EA go, seriously, we don't have a single black creator that we're highlighting here? Like,
I was gonna say Will Wright's too busy making his blockchain game, but I don't think he's been at Maxis for a while. Yeah.
he's got his own company now.
Yeah.
So this was the part that I didn't think was kind of nice, though. They also, on that same Sims account, they replied directly to Ebenox, and the publisher said, "You are right in your frustrations, and we let you down. We owe it to you and each of our black creators and players to make sure that you are seen and celebrated for all that you bring to the Sims and the Sims community." At least they directly called her out and was like, "Hey," because she was pissed off. She went on like a Twitter rant, and I read most of the things she was saying, and I was like, "Yeah, like that is all true." Like, and that is shitty to like and again, The Sims is supposed to represent everybody. It's supposed to represent planet Earth. Like you should have one everybody. I don't give a shit. And to have these prominent streamers, and I can't imagine that there is a ton of Sims content creators out there. So it feels like you really had to do some cherry picking of those to only get white representatives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not based. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Not a good look.
No.
So it's because it's just easy. It's not hard.
Right.
Yeah.
It is this. It's actually the same amount of effort. It's the exact same amount of effort, or at least it should be. If it's not, that's problematic because you don't want people being like, "Well, we got to make the Burger King Kids Club." You know what I'm saying? Don't just fucking go to the numbers. Pick the people who
that's not hard.
Right.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to do that, that's not hard.
Right. True. But like, you don't have to do that either. Cause like, I always thought that was a little fucked up. Like, okay, like back it down a notch. Like, but like you could have just gone to like the people who have high numbers that like the community is really involved with, who have like a big Discord. Like there's a couple of different like pinpoints. You don't just go like, all right, yoink, and just throw them in the basket. Like, I don't know. It just seems super easy to not have be an issue.
Yeah.
Also,
it's EA.
I like that you use the Burger King Kids Club as your example, even though they were still led by a white blonde kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And by the way, nobody in the Burger King Kids Club came off great. Like Wheels was the dude in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Burger King? Jaws for the black cat? Like that's where IQ for the guy with the glasses? Oof, man. Were you purposely boomer for like the like I'm assuming they were like lesbians. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there was somebody who coughed the word lesbians during the meeting. Like it just again, it was like, ooh, man, Burger King, maybe shut that shit down. That's why we don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
We're also probably the only 3 people who even remember them.
Right, because we're 112 years old. Like, and I remember when the Burger King Kids Club was out, and I was old enough to go, well, this is not good. Like, I was like, it was on the side of their like bags. Like when you got like a kitty, because they didn't have the cool little fun Happy Time meals things. They just had a bag that was special for kids. And I was like, no, it's a bad look. And this was in like the 90s. And I was like, no, this is bad look. Bad look, friends. Whatever. It's the last bummer drummer, and we got a couple of laughs out of it, so okay, move on. People are fucking morons.
That's for certain. Alrighty. So you're just passing the bummer drum around to me then, huh? Thanks.
Yeah, but like we ended on a kind of a giggle. So.
I know.
Burger King Kids Club, for God's sakes. As long as we dumpster them every chance we get, I'm gonna feel like the show's good. Like every show, I'd love to dumpster on them.
And I'll be honest, to be fair, this isn't really bummer drummer. It's just stuff that comes up, unfortunately.
Fair.
In this case, Disco Elysium.
Oh yeah.
Did we just have another 3-way here?
Uh-huh.
Oh, fun.
A mental 3-way.
No, I didn't put this one down, but I was following.
But you at least saw it. Okay.
I've been following it the entire time.
Okay. So in that case, the quick summation is I believe it was the lead developer by the name of Robert Kurvitz. I'm probably horribly butchering the name. He's filed a lawsuit against ZAUM. And here's the weird part. In the lawsuit, it specifically states to obtain information and review documents. No, not a monetary value, but to obtain information and review documents.
Well, so let's backpedal a smidge here.
Right.
So Disco Elysium comes out,
Mhm.
and then him, the head writer, and I believe one of the like lead art designers slash directors also all kind of got forcibly pushed out of the company.
Yes, that is true.
So I'm assuming that the reason this is that they're trying to find emails of these people like kind of being
Right.
knobs, even though these
And-
were like the guys who started the studio.
Yeah.
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 Probably them doing something illegal.
Yeah.
Right.
And by the way, Kurvitz was lead developer and writer for Disco
Right.
Elysium. So, but having said that, though, the part of the reason why Kurvitz was effectively forcibly kicked out or fired from the studio was because due to claims of creating a toxic workplace environment. And it's like, okay, let's take that creating toxic workplace environment and just go to Blizzard and say bye-bye. And just like get everybody out of there.
Well, to be fair, this is another thing that like I found very sus about this. This is right after Disco Elysium comes out, then they go public, which means now the board has way more control over things and way like when you're privately owned, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Doesn't
Right.
matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? As long as it's legal.
Yeah.
Or it's supposed to be. But once the board comes along, you literally can kick out like the owner of the company basically because you're the majority at that point.
Yep.
Which is why the fact that Bobby Kotick still fucking exists is baffling, but I digress.
Yeah.
They're all friends.
Yeah, right, exactly, because millionaires are all friends with all their fucko millionaires.
Those
So-
types of millionaires.
Those types of
Yeah.
millionaires, right?
Yeah.
Those
Okay.
types of millionaires.
I'm gonna say most millionaires. Anyways,
Yeah. But
I'm racist against millionaires. That's who I'm racist against. I don't know why I said racist. Millionaires? Is that what it is? Okay, millionaires.
Moneyest?
Moneyest? Yeah, I don't know. So it just seems weirdly timed, right? Like game comes out, does really well, goes public, and then the literal like head creative team gets ousted for toxic work environment, and then they go back and sue because if it was something like them being a shitlord, you certainly wouldn't sue to try to bring that up again, would you?
One would
No.
think, but I mean, crazy
Right.
people are in this world, so who
True.
knows?
True.
it's
but yeah,
also like on your note about it going public, it was also very close to specifically when the game released on Switch, which also
Yes.
probably saw a pretty hefty sales boost compared to most console versions of the game.
console
So-
versions probably.
Might be a
Console versions.
little, it could be a complete coincidence, but it does support your theory.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad because this feels like one of these like now again we'll just keep watching this story, right?
Right.
But I feel bad because this is like clearly a couple of people who really wanted to make and I really like that title. I don't want to think that like they got ousted because they didn't fall in line once the board took over, which kind of reads like that's what happened in my eyes. But I don't know. We'll
Became a
see.
potential franchise.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said that he still owns the rights to Disco Elysium. So the odds of you getting another Disco Elysium pretty much zip now,
Yeah.
which is really unfortunate. So now we can only hope that he does one of those. Ooh, I was going to pick a bad example there. Kenji Inafune. Ooh, bad example. Things where you make a new property with a little finger under its nose, claiming that it is not the original property. Classists? Yes, we'll go with classists. Thank you for that,
Sure.
by the way.
Sounds good.
Yeah, there we go. That sounds better. I just don't want people that have millions of dollars to fucking do anything. Fuck those people.
I was gonna say Tim Schafer is a better example.
Tim Schafer is a great example. Tim Schafer is a great example.
Broken Age is great.
The guy who made Castlevania and then made Bloodstained, that dude, that's another great example. Because Bloodstained is basically Castlevania with a finger on its nose.
Yeah.
Inafune, yeah. Okay. That's what I was right. So yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. Also, hi, Ashley.
Yeah, KG Inafune.
Yeah. Okay.
He was the Castlevania guy. Yeah.
Oof, from downtown. Yeah, I don't know. That's really unfortunate. We're just gonna have to watch this more, I think, and see what really comes of it.
A lot of he said, she said right now.
Right. A lot of ins, a lot of outs. This is a particularly hairy class. I should say class because I looked at the word again. I didn't mean that. Yeah.
I do need to actually play that game. It's been on my list for a really long time because that's kind of my jam with like decision making RPG kind of.
It is, but you're gonna have to like loosen the reins because it is much more. You got to go with the flow. You kind of just gotta.
Yeah. I'm cool with that. As long as the ride is interesting and I get to influence.
The dialogue is crazy good.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about it, and it sounds like
it's on sale right now, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the gold edition.
Nice. One last thing to add on to the whole Disco Elysium thing going on is the hearing date is November 28th. So with that,
so we'll actually know quick.
Yes, with that in mind, we can kind of know relatively soon what's going on. As far as the toxic workplace environment claims,
I really hope it's nothing.
Supposedly, from the article I read and what was mentioned during it, they seem to be false accusations.
Good.
So it's like, okay, is that the whole reason why they're looking? He's looking for information, like documentation and whatnot, just so he can prove, hey, all these accusations are false. Right. Pay up, kind of a thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you outed somebody for that reason, there would be a paper trail. There would have to be. You couldn't. And again, otherwise, it's just illegal.
Yeah. Right. And it's like defamation of character. You know what I'm saying? Like on top of it, like, you know, yeah. And again, who would, like, if I was going around this particular group, like Smarter Than AI, and I'm grabbing butts, and then you guys fired me, I wouldn't sue you guys like for grabbing and come back and be like, that's not true, it never happened, because both of you would be like, you totally did grab butts, and I go, okay, I grabbed butts. Like I wouldn't bring you to court because you'd literally have like the information. You know what I'm saying? Like an insane person would do that.
Of course, on the other hand, though, my husband may sit there and be like, grab it harder.
Squeeze it and look in my eyes. Oh, that's too aggressive.
Okay.
I love this show. Like we literally go from law to like grabbing butts so easily. It's ebb and flow of this show is amazing.
And then Blue Kit chimes in with the "Oh my god" sound effect on my channel.
All right, let's keep this depressed train rolling here. This was a story that I was actually going to talk about last week, and then I specifically said on stream that I wanted to wait because I had a feeling that it was going to change.
And it changed.
Sure enough, it did. Significantly.
Good call.
I don't know if you guys have been following the Bayonetta voice actor debacle.
Yep.
Helena Taylor, who was the original voice actor for Bayonetta, she went on Twitter, I believe about 2 weeks ago or so.
Yeah.
Basically calling out Platinum and Nintendo, saying that they only offered her $4,000 to do all the voice work for Bayonetta 3. And that Platinum she basically was like, fuck you, no, and then called for a massive boycott on the game, basically saying Platinum doesn't want to pay its voice actors. Just complete tirade on Twitter. Garnered a lot of support for this because I'll preface this entire thing with, yes, voice actors are not paid their due. Typically, they're absolutely not. I don't know if we've talked about it on stream before, but there was like the whole thing with I think it wasn't it the main character of Bleach?
Mm-hmm.
Or no,
Bleach
not
Joe.
Bleach. Not Bleach. It was a Crunchyroll anime that the third season aired, and they basically fired the voice actor because he wanted a
It was
union contract.
it was the same guy.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the
And they
same
were
guy.
like, no, we're not negotiating with you, and then they recast him immediately.
Right.
So this was her whole thing, garnered a ton of support, whatever. Few days pass. Bloomberg, Jason Schreier, breaks a story that he's spoken to people within Platinum. Obviously, NDA wise, he can't show documentation and say who, but had seen actual documentation that they offered her $15,000 for, I believe it was five sessions at about 4 hours a piece, $4,000 a session, which is more pretty much in line with the industry standards. Sure enough, she came back and was like, "This is a complete." Her actual tweet. She said that it was an absolute lie and that they are trying to save their ass in the game. Just completely like, no, this isn't true. This isn't true. So this story kind of sat for a few days of being like, well,
He said she
Platinum,
said.
yeah, Platinum is not going to officially state this, but Bloomberg has seen actual physical documentation that she is not telling the truth.
Right.
A couple days later, this was within the last week, she finally backtracked and more or less admitted that this is true,
She meant
while also still saying that it's not true somehow, which doesn't
I
make any
think
sense.
I think what I think that her first tweet was just really unclear because what she meant was 4,000 per session, not 4,000 total. But everyone read it because the way, like, if you read it, it reads exactly like we all thought. $4,000 for your entire fucking like voiceover. No,
Here,
that
let me
is
get the
terrible.
actual-
Yeah.
But the like, I think she just tweeted wrong, and then she just kind of had to lean into it a little bit, and even
No,
Jesse Cox.
no. You're sure this is her exact statement? I'll read this real quick.
Go for it.
The Bayonetta franchise made an approximated $450 million, which also isn't true.
Yep.
That it's a niche game. It's not anywhere near that.
Yeah, it's Switch exclusive for the second one, for God's sakes.
Yeah, and that's not including merchandise, Taylor began. As an actor, I trained for a total of 7.5 years. 3 years, okay, this is her resume, blah, blah, blah. And what did they think this was worth? What did they offer to pay me? The final offer to do the whole game as a buyout flat rate was 4,000 US dollars.
Ooh, bad luck, girl.
Mm.
Bad
Yeah.
luck.
So it came out that more or less isn't the case. Even she admitted it while also still kind of doubling down that, which, like, at the end of the day, her point is correct. Voice actors are typically underpaid.
I agree with that.
Yeah. But basically, yeah, she kind of fell on her ass and probably tanked her career.
Probably did, which
Probably
is
tanked her career. She broke
probably did.
NDA on top of that, which is a
Also
big,
true.
big
Mm.
issue.
Could be sued for it, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah. I would imagine Platinum's probably not going to do that, but who knows?
I
It would
mean,
be in their best interest not to.
not to
I
just
think.
let it go.
Oh, yeah.
honestly.
But like, you're right, because who's gonna want to fucking work with her again? And she's a good voice actress, but
Yeah.
like, who's gonna want to do that? Like, it's just, man, that wouldn't be worth my career for that particular Jim Jam. Now, it does suck because seriously, she is really, really good, and she does personify Bayonetta in my mind. It's like when fucking like Metal Gear Solid switched in fucking 5. I was like, oh no.
From Hater to Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
just weird. Like,
Well, and then they went the extra step to like have a canon reason why, which is stupid.
it
but
is stupid, but
It's really stupid. Yeah, it's not actually Snake or Big Boss.
right, it's
But,
like that dude in the helicopter.
Yeah. It
I
was
I
a body double fill-in kind of situation.
right.
Yeah, but
I don't like this is just and again, this goes to like how many times on this show do we have to say, hey, if you're famous, keep your fucking mouth closed. Don't go on a Twitter. Don't even have a Twitter. If you have to say something, make a fake account that like nobody will ever find, you know, and then you can say whatever shit that nobody listens to anyways. Like, do it that way. Don't fucking jeopardize your career for something fucking so stupid. Everyone in the world now has everybody's receipts. Like, you know, like, ugh, God.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because if I like, I actually, you know what? I lie. I might hire her to be like, I'll pay you $4,000.
Well, the whole issue, like obviously, like I don't. She lied. Like it really does look that way at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And
Jesse
then on top
Cox,
of that, she sort of, whether directly or indirectly, pushed a lot of people to harass Jennifer Hale,
right?
who was the replacement.
Yeah.
On top of that, we talked about
He was
this,
all
I think,
excellent.
even directly before, but like Jennifer Hale is a big name. They
Yeah.
clearly they clearly paid her probably that amount.
Right.
So like they don't
And she did FemShep. And
yeah,
FemShep
like
work, she was excellent in that, but she saw
yeah,
$4,000 per recording session and went, sure, yeah, all right. Like, you know?
to according to this reporter, Stephen Totillo, I'm probably fucking up the last name because if I don't hear it first, I don't know how to say it. The SAG-AFTRA union minimum is 1,000 per session with no residuals. That's
Damn,
the average.
that's
So
so
she was
low.
being offered
Above.
significantly more than the average session.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's real interesting. The director Hideki Kamiya, he basically went on Twitter right after it all happened, like pretty much like on a like warpath to discredit her. His Twitter went down because he blocked so many people that Twitter thought he was a bot.
Oof.
So his Twitter went down for a couple days before they resolved it. So yeah, it's just this whole fucking debacle.
Yeah.
Whole debacle. Where
Well-
there's like good points, there's genuine points to be made here.
Sure.
But this isn't
100%.
how you do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we waited.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
literally like a day or two after. Like
Right.
I specifically said it. I was like, I feel like something's gonna happen, and then
Yeah.
sure enough, the whole story got broken wide open.
Yep.
So yeah.
That was me.
So it's okay to play Bayonetta 3 again.
And really, Jennifer Hale really is a really good voice actress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk something fun. Silent Hill had a whole bunch of shit drop this last week. We got Silent Hill F, the remake of 2, Silent Hill Townfall, which is a completely new one by No Code is the name of the studio that's making it.
Yep.
And that's actually masterfully who I'm going to talk about. So No Code, if you don't know them, they also made Observation, just a little spooky horror game where you're playing a CPU basically. That I really very much enjoyed. Honestly, it's not really like spooky in the same way because you're basically the camera in a third person. Like you're not like a human. You're just watching all these scenarios, and it's like in a space station kind of thing. It's an amazing game, very cool, very unique. So they are the ones working on Silent Hill Townfall. So they had this trailer, but it was like kind of nothing. But of course, the nerdos over at Reddit started going, how can we break this down? Look at this fucking footage. There's no way there's nothing here. And lo and behold, they were right. Reddit user MilkmanEX, which is kind of a gross fucking name, but kind of I like the EX reference. So like I kind of like, ooh, just bad. But you know,
Secret unlocked. He's the secret unlockable milkman.
Yeah.
He converted the entire trailer's audio into MP3, and he looked at it through spectrogram. And when you read it through a spectrogram, there was actually words being spoken through the spectrogram. If you guys don't know what a spectrogram is, it's like the thing where it does this.
Shows the
and
sound
then-
waves. Yeah.
Right. So there
Played
was
many a puzzle game where that was a thing that you had to
right. It's
do.
like it's an ARG classic if you're
Oh,
into
yeah.
ARGs or
Yeah.
unfiction, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So the spectrogram read, "Whatever heart this town had has now stopped." Okay, kind of interesting. Cool. Okay, very Resident Evil, very Silent Hilly about a town that had a fire underneath, and then they died, and okay, that's kind of on brand. Cool. Then, the Silent Hill forum found that if you turned up the brightness on the CRTV, there's like this. Do you guys remember those old school little TVs that you could do on the go? They're portable.
The
They're like the big
Watchmen's?
The whole trailer was basically, yeah.
Yes, the
Yeah.
Watchmen's. That's exactly right. Um, they're actually, if you turned up the brightness, you could see that there was actually a SOS symbol in the bottom. Beep 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 beep. That
Yep.
Yep, Morse code that translated to "Thy flesh is weak." Okay, little crazy, but cool.
Okay.
Then on Twitter, fans deciphered another Morse code message on images posted by Anna Purina, the game's co-publisher, which is interesting because I've never heard of them before. But this time, the message,
Annapurna.
Annapurna, yeah.
yes, Annapurna.
Okay.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yep. What did I say?
They're a big one.
Annapurna.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just making sure because like the industry
blame that on the tequila.
absolutely will
Yeah.
do that. They will name themselves something with one word off or
Right.
one letter off. Yeah.
But this time, the message said, "I don't know how to leave."
Mm.
All of these things are so perfectly Silent Hill.
Mhm.
It's about a city that's dying,
Yep.
somebody who can't leave it. Like it really, thy flesh is weak. Maybe not so much. But it's
There's a
cool
lot
to
of like religious connotations and a lot of Silent Hill stuff too.
That
Though.
is true.
Yeah.
That is true. But it's nice to see that no code is going this far. You know what I'm saying? They didn't
Yeah.
have to do all this. They just did it just in case the internet exists, which it does.
Having
And it,
fun
For
there.
good or bad.
yes,
Yeah.
100%. But it's cool that they know the community well enough to know that they're gonna pick apart every little goddamn thing. So we better leave some hidden shit. So I just wanted to bring it up. I just thought that was really cool because I watched that and was like, cool.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, I got nothing
Yeah.
basically. So it's nice. And really on brand for Silent Hill. It gives me another okay, cool. Silent Hill is being put in the hands of people who give a shit, because I do like that franchise a lot. So I would like to see these new games at least bring up the reputation that has been getting a mushroom stamp put on its forehead for the last, let's call it 15 years. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. Thought it was cool.
Yeah. Well, and even Konami in that same stream mentioned at the end that that this is just what they can show right now, and that they actually have multiple other partners working on more Silent Hill content.
That also could mean side studios though
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
helper shit though.
Yeah.
Whenever you
we're
make a
gonna get
AAA
Silent Hill
title.
Yeah.
But one of my actual one of my more favorite things of that announcement too is that there is a new movie in the works.
Yep.
And it's from the director of the first movie,
which was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
As a video game adaptation, it's fantastic.
I agree.
The monster design, like the attention to detail in the monster design in that movie is incredible. Say what you will about the script in places, and it does take some liberties with it, like Pyramid Head being there when he's solely a thing. He's solely a James Nightmare thing. He's not.
But he also grabbed somebody and pulled their whole fucking skin off. That was real hardcore.
Like that movie fucking rules.
Flaming
and
babies, come on.
They spent 10 minutes of the stream with the director talking about how much he loves the game and how he's so excited to be back because he showed how much he loved the game with this first movie, so that he gets a chance to basically do it again.
Yeah, because the second one was shit.
But he didn't do it.
That second one was I know, but the second one was shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be nice. It'll be nice to see him back in the reins again.
Yeah, Yeah. So I'm very excited to see what that is.
Me too.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Rich, go for it.
All right, this is the last one I've got.
I've got 2 more.
Okay. This one's kind of gaming adjacent because it's still gaming, but not video gaming. Oh, well,
Okay.
completely video gaming, I should say. Chess.
Yeah.
Namely Hans Niemann.
Yep.
Yes, the 19-year-old grandmaster that was been called so many different things, including cheater. As far as how he was cheating, people are like, oh, maybe he was using anal beads, or all sorts of wild theories.
And now he's suing for $100 million.
As my husband just beat me to the point there.
100 million.
He's suing Magnus Carlsen, who is the guy he handily beat, and who then promptly called him a cheater.
In person.
Yes.
In person.
Yes, in person. He played him in August and beat him very quickly and very simply, apparently. He is also suing chess.com for $100 million.
He's suing everyone.
Yeah.
Across the board for $100 million.
Yeah. Basically for defamatory accusations of cheating, which here's where we kind of gotta be nitpicky on things. Because he was on chess.com a while ago. He was caught cheating once.
He admitted it.
Yes.
No, twice. He admitted it. Twice.
Okay, I only recall once, but I'll take your word on that. At which point they banned him. So it's like, is it really a thing of we're defaming your name for cheating? But yes, I mean, this is all in reference, as far as the lawsuit, this is in reference to the August match between him and Carlsen, and them.
The only reason I didn't bring this story up yet is because this feels like another one of these that we're like, okay, we're in the middle of this story. I kind of wanted to wait on this.
Okay, yeah,
that was kind of one of the reasons I didn't bring it up yet.
That
it's been going on for a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I've been watching this. And by the way, just to kind of clarify the anal beads thing. So he beats this dude who is older and who's been a grandmaster for a lot of years, and everyone was trying to make assumptions as to how he could do it. The problem with chess, innately the problem with chess is that you can put on a computer program, and no matter what a human does, the computer will always have a move to beat that. And the reason people were like, oh, well, he could have had something shoved up his ass, and then it could be like vibrating Morse code up his butthole. And if he trained enough with this vibrator up his butthole, this was literally what the internet was talking about for like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah,
like this sounds like something I would make up though. Like honestly, this sounds like something I would just like come off with a cuff. But that's
no,
that's
this was real. Yeah.
This was a real thing.
To win, if he goes through all that trouble to learn Morse code through anal beads that are actually in his ass, he deserves that W.
Right? Like it's like steroids. Like I feel like you're taking the drugs. You're dying for us. Like, you know, come on, give the guy's dub.
That he didn't come up with it first.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason I didn't bring this up yet is because we are so in the middle of this story.
Oh yeah.
But it is crazy that he is now fired back $100 million. That is an insanely stupid amount of money. He's not even going to get anywhere near that if he even wins.
Oh yeah.
But I know a shit ton about this story. I would love to talk about this story when we get closer to the court date.
Okay.
And we could do maybe even a bonus segment about it, like a 30-minute. Let's explain this.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just too big to like try to throw at the last like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, at the very least, it's a good thing to be like, hey, this is coming. It's just we're in the middle of it, and there's more to it.
Every single one of those sentences sounded sexual to me.
You sure I didn't mean it that way?
I don't know if you did or didn't, but I'm just saying that's how my brain works.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what comes of this.
Yes,
because,
as am I.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's already interesting in itself, but then you get the semantics of it, where anal beads are a factor. Like
and man, I guess the chess crowd is really weird because that's like the first thing they thought of too. Like that's the first place they went to. Like I would have been like, I don't know, maybe he had a retinal implant or something with like some CG fucking terrible 2000s thing where you could read over it. Like that's where I certainly wouldn't have gone. He's got a thing up his butt. Like you know what I'm saying? How about something in his shoe? Like you couldn't have thought of that. Like
There are a million ways that you could communicate Morse code to someone
100%.
besides anal beads, and it's not like they pat them down before they sit down or
They
something.
actually do. They
Mhm.
actually run. Yeah, they actually run metal wands all over them, just like you're going through airport security.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I'm if they didn't before, I'm sure they will now.
I'm sure.
Yep.
I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
they're probably gonna have to get those new ones where you have to go out and you have to put your hands up, and then the thing goes rear. Like that's
You
what
have to
that's
go through TSA now to
right.
play.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all. Yeah, they
But those
set up
guys will actually
TSA.
know what the fuck they're doing and care a little bit more than TSA.
All chess tournaments are in airports now.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, take your belt off, take your shoes off, put them in this bin. All right,
Got to power up the
go
laptop
ahead.
to make sure it's actually a laptop.
Yep, exactly.
Uh,
Okay, I got a real short. It's hilarious that this is actually kind of news, but it's also I'm also kind of excited about it personally. So people finally got some actual like what's the word I'm looking for? Like IGN
Satisfaction?
outlets finally got some hands-on time with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Oh yeah, the outlets.
NPCs do not attack on sight anymore. So in all previous Pokemon games, when you're out in the wild and you're going through a route and there's an NPC standing there, if you line up in their sight, it triggers a battle automatically. That's how games have always worked.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is the first Pokemon game that does not do that. You have to actively engage with the NPCs to battle them on routes. They
You have
don't
to
just
walk up to them?
Yeah, you have to walk up to them and have a conversation with them.
Huh.
They don't trigger auto battles anymore.
But that was like the whole reason they existed, because they were like gatekeeping, basically.
yeah.
Yeah. So apparently that they don't know if that is removed for the sake of the hands-on or if it's just specific areas and other areas will still have that. But
Interesting.
so far, journalists that have gotten to play the game, NPCs no longer attack on sight.
It wouldn't surprise me if that was a demo thing, because like if you I know this just sounds like a Nintendo thing, but like what if these journalists aren't very good at Pokemon? They won't be able to see the whole demo. So let them pass as they would. Like, doesn't that sound kind of Nintendo-y?
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo adjacent?
A little bit. But I mean, as far as the fact that it's being pointed out in article, like people are actually, I'm looking at an IGN article that's paragraphs about this. Like the fact that they're actually writing about it makes me think that at the very least previous demos did have the attack on site. Or they just not had NPCs in them.
I mean, or this could be the first demos that they got.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's interesting. It is interesting if they do remove that, considering this is now
that makes
Generation
speedrunning
9.
so much easier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good lord.
Oh, actually, yeah, there is a follow-up here. The Nintendo rep specified that the icon above the trainer's head signified they would battle us, but only if we initiated. So there is
Wait, does that mean that there's ones that won't have that icon then?
Maybe. But
That's
in the
kinda what
demo, they had NPCs that could battle you were distinguished by an icon above their head, and you had to actively engage them to battle them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they've balanced the game differently because now you can tackle gyms in any order. There's no designated order, so maybe they're
I don't know. Community is gonna have a fucking field day with this game.
Oh god,
this is gonna be beaten in like 14 minutes in like the first week. Like
I'm excited to see it. Yeah.
Like no, I am too, but like I guarantee, like this is nightmare fuel level of openness and we're fucking. I beat the game in 2 minutes and 20 minutes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like fucking or 220. Like, like okay, like, and being able, whenever you start leaving things open to do things in any order, there's always huge skips that can happen. There's always huge, because you can't catch everything in testing. Like that's just a fact. Like,
Well, a lot of the early press for this game in particular is actually like highlighting that, and applauding the fact that it does really feel like you can tackle the objectives in the game any way you want at any level. Like you can basically path out your own course in a Pokemon game, which is what
Right.
people have wanted for a very, very long time. Even Arceus was very linear in that you go to one area. Yes, it's an open area, but you go to one area, do something, and then it gives you the next area, and then you do something else.
Right.
This seems to be trying to lean into the open world aspect as much as possible for a Pokemon game. So it's going to be real interesting. The press has been good. People like media outlets are really positive on it in a way that I'm not used to seeing with a lot of Pokemon games, where usually it's just like, here's the Pokemon game, here's what to expect. But the fact that they're writing articles about these big changes is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Man, this is gonna be interesting to see what the speedrun community how they tear this to the fucking ground and piss on the ashes.
Oh god, yeah.
Like
Well, it also like for Nuzlocke people, it probably helps the
oh,
Nuzlocke
100%.
community
100%.
too.
But
Yeah.
again, it doesn't at the same time because
Mhm.
I just want a fucking mode. Make an official Nuzlocke mode. I hate that they're so against that. Like, just make me an official mode that is a like you turn it on in the very beginning. If you turn it on, your entire file is now turned on to an official Nuzlocke, not just community. Because even in the Nuzlocke community, there's all these on this game you do this, or if you want to make it easier, you do this. Like, just give me an official one. For the love of God. I don't know why they're so fucking hesitant. Actually, I do. They're fucking Nintendo.
Well,
Like, and
yeah.
Flash Game Freak.
knowing what I know about the inner workings of Pokemon,
Right.
they have very strong core tenets that they will not break no
It's
matter
just,
what.
it's just
And
so
they've
absurd.
gotten better. They've definitely gotten better. They are embracing things a little bit more, but they do have this. They have rules that they will not ever be willing to break. And I mean, they still only have one save file per console. Like per version, like you can't even buy two versions of the same game.
And now,
Like you can't buy two blues and have two save files on your console. Well, not blue, that's a bad example.
Jeez.
It's like you couldn't buy two swords and
Shields.
have two versions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have it would be the same no matter which cart you put in. So
Like, okay, then fine. Okay, how about this? You beat the game once and you beat the final four, and then you can unlock the Nuzlocke. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, like there are fucking little bits of like give and take here, but it's just Nintendo is the most Japanese company, and very shortly thereafter is Capcom. Like, like they are just the most Japanese company of all time. They can't relinquish power. I am a total control freak, and I can relinquish power a little bit more than fucking Nintendo does. Like, it's just
yeah.
baffling to me. Like, your community is doing this out of love, and this has been going on for years and years and years. And just now we're like, oh, we can take on gyms at any time. Oh, thank God. Like, that's so sad that, like, oh, is crumb left off of the master's table, and now I can, oh, it's so delicious. Like, that's fucking ridiculous, man. Like, ah. All right.
Yeah, but as someone who doesn't really do Nuzlocks, I am like all of that aside, I am actually very curious to see what this game ends up being and how it actually manages its own difficulty. Because if
Well,
this is a big change that you have to adapt the rest of the game to if it is a permanent thing.
Mhm.
sure, but as a guy who does do Nuzlocke runs, I hated Sword and Shield because it did not lend itself to the normal fucking rules. And then we had to have all these fucking addendums, and like, it just makes it so frustrating. Like, and as a designer, Alex Quino designer brain, these are flags that you could flip. You go this mode, flip, and now you just change these rules in an Excel doc, and you're done. This is not major shit. You don't have to spend a ton of time testing it. It is literally flags you flip on a basically new game plus mode. It is not difficult to do. But
The only other
whatever.
weird thing is the tie
Fuck
like
me, I
the
guess.
people that Nuzlocke also tend to like dabble in competitive, and those two things are not compatible in any way.
Agreed. Agreed.
So it would be interesting to see if they ever acknowledge it, but yeah, I don't really.
Hell,
think
you know what'd be cool? Give me an official, and again, I don't even speed run. Give us an official speed run mode where, if for nothing else, it just puts a fucking timer in the top right corner. You finish the game, bam, there's your time. Nothing more. Like, you know, like there's just a lot of little things that you could do that would garner so much goodwill from the community with very little effort on your part, and you don't have to take it seriously. Shit, look how many fucking years it took them to barely admit that fucking Smash Brothers is a fighting game, even though people have been mushing that to make it a fighting game for so many years. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just absurd. Like the way that they treat their community is, it's like they have a cat of nine tails just whipping everyone. And then they cut off one tiny leather strap, and so now it's a cat of eight tails, and they're like, say thank you. Wham, wham, wham.
You have to remember that community is probably less than 5% of the people that actually play Pokemon games.
It would change nothing, Paul. It's a fucking flag set. Not everyone would play. You're right. 5% of the community would fucking play it. You take less than 5% of your fucking development time to do that. It is flags. You go click, 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 click. These are on, they're off. That's all we got to do. Check it twice.
Yeah. There's just no reason for them to. They don't care.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
They don't care.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
They don't make money off of those people.
The family-friendly company, they don't make money off it. Fuck it. Like, you know what? Even if you flogged me for a $10 DLC that turned it into Nuzlocke, fine. Whatever. Take my fucking money. Bam! It hits you in the face.
You're also missing the big point. They don't need to do this because people just do it themselves.
Yeah, but they could make more money. If it is a money thing, they could make more money.
It wouldn't affect sales at all.
It wouldn't affect sales, but it would affect DLC. If you literally just made this Excel doc with all these things and you went, we did it. We made a DLC Nuzlocke. It is $10. That 5% of 1 million people would give them an additional $10.
Oh yeah.
But why is there no skins? Actual skins.
They would.
I know. I know, but it's infuriating.
Because Nuzlocke already exists and they can just do it themselves without paying money to do it. So
are you kidding me? You don't think that motherfuckers would be like, oh, this is the official? Are you kidding me?
No,
I guarantee
they would have an issue. There would be something that would get fucked up and they would have an issue with it and they wouldn't support it.
This is Paul Rotloff, the Nintendo apologist speaking. I will not be following his backplay.
Yeah.
All right, I got 4 minutes. I got one. Speaking of fucking companies being douchebags, that should be the subtitle of the show.
Yep.
So turns out I'm going to bring up Thou Who Shall Not Be Named. It's quick, but I'm going to bring up Thou Who Shall Not Be Named because this is a big story, so we have to talk about it. Apple has officially stated that they are opening up their Play Store to allow NFTs.
Yay.
Now, this is the only reason I'm going to bring this up, because I read the guidelines, because I'm a loser and I have to read all the rules. The guidance read, apps may use in-app purchases to sell and sell services related to non-fungible tokens, NFTs, such as minting, listing, and transferring. Apps may also allow users to view their own NFTs, provided that NFT ownership does not unlock features or functionality. So let me just quickly break this down to you. Basically what they're saying is any game, app, doesn't matter, that has NFTs, you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to, minting basically means create new NFTs. Listing basically means you can sell an NFT on their app. Transferring is when it is sold. You can sell, hey, Rich, I am selling this NFT to you. You now do that. Okay, cool. Viewing your own NFT is basically you can go in and look at it. Provide NFT ownership as long as it does not hold features or functionality, which means NFTs can't hold back content. Thanks for the tiniest bit of not being a dick. But NFTs also includes skins. It includes weapon skins. It includes clothing skins. And guess what? They want 30% of all transactions. All, even between players. So their thought is if you buy an NFT, they get 30%. If Rich buys this NFT off of me, they take 30% of that money. If Rich wants to then sell that to someone else, to Paul, they get 30%. So Apple is now officially the scumbaggiest, like scumbag seller of the month in my eyes. Like, ooh. So expect a huge influx of that in the Apple fucking store coming up real goddamn sick.
There's
Like,
going to be so many people trying to capitalize on it, but I really,
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. The fact that they're like giving the like thumbs up is just douchey because all they're doing it for is their 30%. They don't give a
Yep.
shit about the fact that like the value of these things is ostensibly nothing. And this is just trading Beanie Babies, but they figure, hey, trade all the Beanie Babies you want. We're getting 30% off of all these morons who are going to trade these fucking Beanie Babies. Dude, that broke today. So, scumbag company of the week goes to Apple, actually, which is surprising because we haven't had a week where it hasn't gone to Activision Blizzard in like 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
I would say more like a year.
Yeah. So Apple somehow fucking beat all them. Good job, Apple, you fucking bunch of knobs.
Meanwhile,
yeah, we need an asshole of the week, like
graphic,
Yeah.
or like a sound effect or something. Yeah, asshole company of the week.
Well, I have so many points for your channel, so I'll redeem them every time we get to
Awesome.
that point. We need to set one up.
Yeah, I'm in for that. I'm totally in for that. Because legitimately, every week we just talk about how shitty companies are, but this, for me, that beats every company this week. Unbelievable, you fucking dirtbags. Like, the NFT bros just apparently got talked to Apple into it, and they went, yeah, we'd like some of those stupid people's monies.
Can we make this
Let's
even worse than it already is?
It's going to flood the fucking entire like Apple store. It is going to flood the entire Apple store.
And it's all going to crash really hard, like the entire NFT market has been lately.
Already. Yep. But
just
one of these
exchanging money, it's going to be money laundering, and then Apple's going to take a cut of it for some reason.
Right. Fucking unbelievable, man. I do have one more, but I'll save it for next week.
I'm curious now that you mention it that way, Paul. I'm very curious if organizations start using it as a money laundering thing, knowing that Apple is taking their 30%, they're then an accomplice.
Right, they're liable. Well, no, because I guarantee somewhere in the 8 million fucking page legal documents that they're gonna, because that's what they're gonna do. They're going to write themselves out of it. They're gonna go, oh, I mean, it's anything was exchanged, it's not on us. It's because it's through the individual apps.
Yeah,
they're gonna
we're just
blame.
a place.
Yeah, this is just a hosting store. It's not our fault.
Someone buys drugs into McDonald's doesn't get in.
Isn't liable.
Yeah.
Right. It's and you can't sue the bathroom. Like, not that I've done that. I didn't come. That wasn't from a real world example.
You not at all.
That seems crazy. All right, no, it's on this episode. Quick. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, next week. Ooh, we definitely should do the asshole of the week thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start brainstorming like a good sound or like a movie clip or something.
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, goodbye, Rich's chat. Thank you guys very much. And well, not goodbye, Rich, because we're going to talk afterwards. But thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yep. And bye, Alex's chat. Always a pleasure to see you guys, even though I'm not directly looking at you. Or am I? You don't know.
I'm trying to get in the habit of looking at my camera more when I talk to you guys instead of looking at you on the screen or myself to make sure I don't look like crap on camera. So yeah, I need to address the audience more.
I do more audio That's what I do. I don't want to look at myself. Trust me. Like all I'm trying to do is avoid that. like if you guys came into my house one day and there was like mirrors and they had like sheets over them, would it be creepy? Would you be like, oh god, his house is haunted or something? Because like I could live that way without having to see myself. I could live that way like completely.
I was gonna say that, or it could just be a thing of you're in mourning because someone close to you just passed.
Yeah, I know. The queen passed, Rich. That's why they're taking her out of there. So if I don't get her as a giant mutant.
I don't know if I'd be that weirded out anymore by anything that you do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
that's
fair.
true. That's true.
That's the good thing about being a cartoon character. Most people go, yeah, sure. Like, you know what I'm saying? Okay,
Yep.
that's about right.
All right.
Like, yeah, a queeno. So weird. All right.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Yep. Alrighty, so that'll be it for tonight, guys. As always, thank you all for hanging out with us tonight, having fun, and just generally chatting, lurking, whatever. Thank you for being here. I should be back tomorrow, playing some more Horizon Zero Dawn, and we'll be back again next week talking about more video game stuff. Till next time, bye!